Freedom Seekers, what is up? It's Monday morning, and that means it's time for another episode of Coffee and Cash. Hey, what's up, my people? I am so excited to be here with you guys. Monday morning, it is time to go for the week, right? Let's make this one an incredible week, and let's really achieve something valuable happening in our business. To help you guys along the way, I want to go ahead and dive into 4 personal development offers that you should be pushing out to your audiences, and talking about a special, right, trick that I learned from Joe Vitale that I think can help you in your business. Jumping off, offer number 1, Genie Script. Now, Genie Script has been one of our top personal development offers for years, right? I want you to let that sink in. For years. It is an incredible offer that gets incredible numbers, and we've been seeing an even bigger surge than usual lately. A lot of people right now are, 1, going through financial hardship, right? Inflation is rough. Things are difficult. 2, there's like a lot of weird weather things that are happening that have people stressed out and anxious. We're in springtime and people are starting to feel like, hey, I need a new beginning, right? That always happens in spring. People need to start something fresh. And that's why this offer is sure to crush your personal development email list, your personal development social media audience, anything like that, right? It is a great offer by Wesley Virgin and his crew. Genie Script does a great job of being an offer that can apply to like 1,000 different people. As you go through their video sales letter, it addresses people that are trying to lose weight, people that are trying to make money, people that are trying to be happier. So many different things. Basically, if in any area of their life your audience wants to improve, at some point it's going to get mentioned and hit in this VSL, and it's going to convert well, right? I would make sure that I take a look at it quick and send this one out. Offer number 2. This one is from Marissa Peer and her group. She, again, like we've talked about before, has an incredible persona, right? She is very popular. Her offers convert very, very well. She's been around in the industry, hangs out with the biggest and the best and the brightest, so she's always on top of what's working. We're going to bring 2 of her offers to you. The first is the Unstoppable Confidence Challenge, right? Unstoppable confidence. As people are starting to do a lot of things, right? One of the biggest impediments for making any sort of change is fear. Oftentimes they're scared that if they try something, they will fail, so why even start trying? And this challenge does a great job of helping people defeat that mentality. It's going to do really successful with anybody who's trying to start something in their life and needs to get going. That's the same for the second offer, the I Challenge You 21-Day Challenge. It really hits on the idea that you've probably bought so many products and self-help things, but nothing's changed in your life. Why? Because they're telling you what's and how's, but they're not actually telling you, hey, let's get going and do something now. And so this challenge is based around the idea of helping people change whatever aspect of their life, right? It's a membership that's ongoing. So there's reoccurring revenue opportunities in this. And it's just helping people put into practice all the information that they're consuming, because we are an information society. We are an information overload, but very, very few are actually doing. And so this is a great one for that. Right? Check it out. The final offer, which will also be a segue into what I want to talk about in our education segment, the Mental Time Travel System by Joe Vitale. Those of you who don't know Joe Vitale probably have been living under a rock. If you are at all in the personal development space, if you are in the attraction abundance space, you know him. Joe Vitale has written probably around 80 books. He's been featured in The Secret. The mental time travel system is addressing a unique need. So now a lot of his offers talk about the law of attraction, right? Or attract money now. What is this offer talking about? In the mental time travel system, he's talking about how people can go back in their life and analyze certain events and occurrences, things that established thought patterns and beliefs, and then he helps them change those things so that they can be more successful. It's a really great offer, but I think it's something that affects a lot of us as business owners. I'll give you my personal experiences as a business owner where past experiences and traumas right, have affected the way I've done things in my success. But if I was able to go back and look at them, change my perception of them, it's allowed me to be much more successful. This is something that I know that if you got money to go to a therapist, right? This is what they love to do, some cognitive and behavioral therapy. Just help you reassess narratives that you speak into your own mind. But personally, for me, I had this experience where at one point, I owned a business, and the beginning was just like me and a cousin of mine that I was paying part-time to help me out. And I was starting to get overwhelmed. I started feeling like, wow, like I'm doing so much. I need to bring somebody else in. So I put out an ad on Facebook, started looking for somebody. And this was the very first business that I owned. I started going, I found an employee, right? I brought in a couple of interviews, got this dude. Wow, he was killer. Really, really great at what he did. He was young, so he was cheap, but he was gonna be a rock star. I brought him in, we started working, things were going great. But then I started thinking, right, hey, I should probably give this dude a non-compete or some sort of legal agreement. At that point, I just give a guy a job. I didn't give him any sort of a legal document. And I probably should put in some stuff saying, hey, if anything happens, you can't take my current clients. Hey, you can't talk to these people. You can't do this same thing that we're doing within a certain space. All sorts of things that would protect me. So I started thinking about this. And at this point, it got a little bit too far. And it felt weird giving him this legal document after he'd already been working for me for a couple of months. It made me feel like if you got married, and then after being married for a couple of months, we're like, hey, sign a prenup. Which all wasn't well, I don't trust you or whatever. And so I just felt weird awkward. So I did nothing. Let's let time go forward. About a year and a half later, I stumbled onto a work computer that we had opened it up, and I saw all these emails that he'd been sending. And little by little, he was siphoning off my business to open up his own business doing the exact same thing, just a few blocks away from where I was doing it. It was crazy. So immediately, we had to address that. But the long story short is it almost killed my business. Right? Almost killed my business. That we lost a ton of our clients. Some of our clients didn't go with him, didn't go with me. They just felt like it was this weird divorce situation almost. Nothing happened. And for a long time in my business life, I let that affect me. I let it make me feel like I had failed at what I was doing. And I'd always, up until that point, seen a lot of success. And because I'd always seen a lot of success, I had this narrative in my head that any sort of failure meant you weren't good enough. So what that then started making me do in future business decisions is I only took decisions that was really, really super sure things, because I was scared of failing and messing up and then looking poorly, because a lot of people at the time saw me go through the struggle and they're like, okay, this was happening, and I didn't want people to know that I would fail again. And so I just wouldn't take risks. Though I started looking at this, actually went to a therapist and worked with them and started looking at this and all of a sudden reframed it, right? So I went back in time, like Joe talks about it in his stuff. And I went back in time and I looked at it and I reframed it. This all of a sudden became a learning experience, right? Because of this, now I know all these different things. I had to go through a lot of stuff. It caused a lot of problems in my business that I then had to fix those problems, and actually made me grow a ton. So then I all of a sudden started framing it as pushing the envelope and failing at things can actually be a great benefit, because you learn a lot about the mistakes. And I know there's a lot of great business gurus. The way they talk is you're going to fail and fail and fail and fail until you figure out how to solve each and every one of those things. And once you figure out how to solve each and every one of those problems, your business takes off. So the faster you can screw up and fail, the quicker you're going to figure out the solutions, the faster you're going to be a success. And so that reframe let me dive into starting to take more risks and grow. I want you real quick, right? We're going to do a little therapy session. I'm going to put on my therapist beanie. I want you to go ahead and take a look at things that have been going on in your life, right? Things that right now that aren't the way you want them to be, right? Think about whether it's in your personal life, in your business life, whatever it is, you're not happy with it. Start diving into that. Think about what is it in the past that's creating this sort of hesitation or this negative feeling, and reframe it, right? Spin it. How can you turn this into a positive? What are the good things? I think one of my favorite things that when I was going through this practice was basically at the end of every problem that I bring up, the therapist in not so many words would say, so what? What's the worst case scenario if that happens, right? So one of the things is, what's the worst case scenario if you go out of business? And for me, it was well, I guess I'll work less hours and I could find a job, and I'm talented. I've got actually more skills now, so I'm more marketable than before I started this business. And so that was a really easy thing. if you're in a weird relationship things and what happens if this is, and so what, like since you just figure that out, right? And there's a lot of really cool things with this. And I wouldn't just push the mental time travel system as an affiliate if you're in like the weight loss space, but I would definitely think about diving in and checking it out, right? It's going to help you grow as a business person and in your personal sphere. Super, super great ideas that he teaches there. And so that was a super cheap, free version of therapy for you. Go ahead, do me a favor. If you're still watching, jump into the description here. And I want you to put in there one of the things that once you've done this sort of little analysis, one of the things that's holding you back. Put in there what is holding you back and then reframe it, how you're going to change it. Or maybe this is something you've already gone through. Give us an example. Let other people that are watching know how this affected you in your life. Do us a favor, like and subscribe. And remember, as always, open minds equals open hearts equals open wallets.